when I got out of the hospital, I found this book, this magazine, Sean, in the lobby over at Shepherd Center. It had these little sticks, little portable drive sticks. They got scissors on them, scissor handles on them, and you can put it on the brake and the gas and drive whatever you want. I bought a pair of those for $300, and I bought a 1984 Camaro, T-top Camaro, man. That was in really good mint condition almost, man. And that's what I drove. It had the wide door, and it was kind of low. And I had one of these old, it was an Invacare. I had a small wheelchair.
Manual?
Yeah, a manual wheelchair. And for years, first so many years, I just transfer in and out.
Good to see you, man.
Hey, hey, it's good to see you.
Good to meet you.
It's good to see you, Mike. Hey, we'll keep in touch, man. All right. But with those sticks, man, I could get in and out and drive any car, man. And I had that Camaro, and then I bought an old Dodge Caravan that I told you about. I used to take hunting with me. I could get in and out of it and take an air mattress, and I could sleep in it and everything. When I went camping, I'd camp in it. And it was nice being able to drive, and I could go test driving, you know. I'd show up on the lot with these sticks, and I could test drive whatever vehicle I wanted. And for years I did that until I lived in Pensacola, and when I passed away and left me an old Sebring, a 2004 Sebring. And it was almost new, you know. It's pretty good. It was 2006, 2004, and it had very little mileage on it. I sold it for like $4 grand, and then I went shopping on eBay, and I bought a full-size Ford E150 that already had didn't have hand controls or anything, but I had my sticks. But it had where you could drive up. I wanted something I could just pull up and drive to the steering wheel and drive it, and a little locking system on it and all that. And I flew to Houston to go buy the van and drive it home. And I had planned on pulling over for the evening and getting in a hotel room. And I had a little jazzy chair. And when I missed my connector to Charlotte or something. I had in Atlanta, I had the little connector that I had to missed because I had connector was a mile away. So I didn't get to my flight on time and had to spend another 2 hours waiting on the flight, and didn't get to Houston until almost 11 o'clock at night, you know. So he did like a quick run through on how everything worked. He pulled it was all leather. Everything was leather. It was a striped van, and it had all wood cabinets, cherry wood cabinets, and a little bed that folded down, electric bed and all that. I was like, wanted all that stuff for camping, you know. I figured I could go and I could go to the lake and I could camp in it. And that was the idea. But the bed thing didn't hardly ever work right. Once it laid down, it stayed down. It didn't go back up again, you know. But that night was one of the longest nights of my life because I had a little jazzy chair, right, and I get up on that little bracket thing. It's got an easy lock system on it, and you're supposed to have like a bolt that locks into it. They put it on the bottom of your chair. Well, my chair, he had to like get me up on the thing because my chair wouldn't go over it. So I go to the hotel. I'm about to go in the hotel room for an evening, and all of a sudden, the thing wouldn't come off the easy lock thing. I was stuck there. You know, I'm stuck and I can't do nothing, you know. So all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap, you know, I'm just gonna have to drive all night. And I'd stop at McDonald's, you know, and have me some coffee and take a nap or whatever. 9 hours, man, all night long, and it was raining. I remember I getting on the highway and I didn't have my sticks situated right. They're kind of just like floating around. Because normally I'd put one on the right side and one in the middle, you know. But this one, you know, the thing was like way down there, and they were just kind of sticking up like this, you know. Later on, I tied a string to one of them and put it over the drive column so that it kept it up, you know, the gas. And the brake one, I just put between my legs, you know.
That's gotta be.
And it worked
Difficult
perfect.
thing
It
to
worked
drive.
perfect, man. Because I could just push that handle, and then there was a little panel on the side that had the cruise control. There was a little button. You had to hit it with your elbow. I didn't realize that at first. That I was having to reach all the way over here like that and punch it like that. So I'd get cruising just right, and you got to have cruise control, right? I wouldn't want a vehicle without cruise control, you know. And I had to reach all the way over here, and it starts pouring down rain, you know. And I get on the highway, and my sticks all of a sudden want to go flying over here, and I'm like get on the highway, and I'm going across lanes trying to get into traffic and everything. I mean, it was the scariest thing ever because I had no idea what was going on. And finally I hit cruise, and every once in a while, you know, I had to hit the brakes, and then I had to hit cruise, and all night I'm like punching all the way over here to hit the cruise control, you know. And I did that all night long, all my way home. And
Yeah, I need one of those.
hey, look, this chair here, Medicare gave me this chair, man. And I've had two good ones. I had the Invacare one for 5 years, and this one's a Promobile. This chair is like a $75,000 chair, and I cannot believe Medicare covered it. It's got a $2,000 lift on it, and I paid for that out of my pocket, $150 a month.
Wow.
$150 a month for a year out of my Social Security.
I need those right there.
Yeah, these. Yeah, because
This chair.
I have the same issue because my legs want to fall off too. They won't stay wide.
That's how we met. This is like,
Yeah.
he was sitting, he got on the plane, get on that, and I was with another patient. And his
This thing's amazing, man. I thank God every day.
kept falling out into the, and I was getting on with my patient who was ahead of me, because he was in a power chair. Sean was in, and had been transferred out of a manual chair. And I was turning to go like to the front of the plane, and I saw him. He kept trying to get his leg in because it kept flopping up because he's so long-legged.
Yeah.
So I walked back to him and I said, I have an extra gait belt. A gait belt is a belt that you help somebody move with.
Okay.
And they're long.
Strap 'em in.
And I said, if you would like to borrow it, you're welcome to. And by then, he was late. His dad missed the plane. He was on the plane. His dad was coming in there. He was mad, and he's like, no, thank you. All right, jackass.
Well, Sean, I was in a manual chair for years because you know, in transferring in and out of my Camaro and everything, you know. But I lived in that house in Ackworth, and they did a remodel job on it while I was in the hospital. And they had to come out there, and they had broke ball out in the middle in the master bedroom, and that whole backside of that house was mine. And there was a bathroom, the main bath. They built the deck, extended it all the way around back, and then Scott went out there with a bulldozer and did some landscaping, and they poured the walkway from the driveway all the way around the back. And you remember that house, it's on a hill like that.
Yeah.
And I was having to get out and hump it up that hill from the get-go. And I was in the best shape of my life when I came out of Shepherd because I've been running them hauls all day long, every day. You know, from Piedmont to Shepherd to everywhere along there, you know, there's hauls all over the place. And my physical therapy dude, I don't know if he's still there. He's this big black dude. He's real big and stocky. But he did my rehab, and he pushed me so hard, and I went with it. I was just thrived on all that and just rolling and rolling. And I didn't get a power chair till later on when me and Diane started that pool business. We called a guy, we met some people through BioGuard and this and that who were closing their stores down. And this dude in Gainesville, Florida had a store. He was closing down, and he offered us this shelving and all kind of chemicals and all this stuff for like $500. So we rented a U-Haul and drove to Gainesville, and I used my sticks. I was driving the damn U-Haul truck with my driving sticks, believe it or not. And I got to Gainesville, and I saw this old black dude. He was coming up the road on this little hover-round thing and at the store, And I asked him how he got that, you know, where do you get that from? And he said, well, I got like 3 of them over here. They get me one every 5 years. He was a vet, an old veteran. I said, really? He said, I'll sell you one for $600. I didn't have $600, but I scrounged up $600 and I bought this old Hoveround from this guy. And so I could get, when I got to the house, I could transfer in my Camaro and drive all day long and leave my chair outside, and then when I got home, I could hop in the power chair and take me up into the house, you know. And that's when I started getting lazy, you know. I didn't have to hump it up that hill anymore, you know. But ever since then, I've had a chair. I've gone through them, and I didn't even know Medicare would buy me a chair until I tried it, you know. And my first one was with Hoveround.
Every 5 years.
Every 5.
They didn't, though. Honestly and truly, they didn't.
Hey, you see
it wasn't
this?
until after that.
Yeah, I saw that back there.
Is that a power thing?
That's a motor.
Little motor, that'll help. That's good. That's good.
I saw that earlier. I was like, what is that? Really good?
The funny thing is, watch
That's a nice little chair you got there.
Watch this. Watch my hand.
All right. Yeah.
Tap and go.
Hey, that's right, man. I'm gonna have to get me one of
my
those.
little grandson.
Wherever you want to go, and then when you want to, if you need some power, you just hit that and you
Go up the
go.
hill.
Our little grandson
Do
walked.
you have the Easy Lock thing? Does your chair lock into your vehicle?
I transferred.
You transfer into your seat? Yeah.
See, he doesn't have.
You do pretty good with your transferring and everything?
We have a grandson. Our grandson is 4.
Yeah. The board is what messed me up so many times, having to use that board.
He hits his
I used to drive trucks, right, to pull myself up in the truck. And that was the easiest thing for me, is to, I'd put my legs up in there and then grab the steering wheel and I'd pull myself up in there. And then when
I'm sitting up there with my
I'd pull myself up in there, you know, and then when I had to get out, I could just hop out, you know, do that big hop out. And but the board has been this thing's my table. I've had this ever since. It goes everywhere with me. It's my little lap table. That's all I use it for. Because this thing's caused me much damage. I've had several flaps, man, and I laid up in Shepherd Center 6 weeks because I was all sweating and everything. You know, my grandmother was up there taking care of me. I had transferred out of my bed butt naked to get in the shower, and I landed right on the tire, man, square on the tire, and it busted like a cyst or something under there, and I didn't even know it, you know, and it got all infected, and I had a hole like that. And I went in Shepherd, and they did a flap, a skin graft and everything, but they pull muscle from your thigh or somewhere, and they put it over, and they pull it over. Have you ever had to deal with one of them yet?
Nah.
Man,
I've only had
thank
problems with
God.
my ankle.
I'm glad for you, man.
Only my ankle.
I'm
Well, I
glad.
had one. I take that back. When I got out of Atlanta Medical, I had a sore on my butt like this big. I didn't have to get a flap. It eventually healed.
Well, that's
Luckily,
good.
My ass, I've
Yeah.
been good.
Yeah, that's good,
My
man.
ankle, giving me hell.
Man, I've had so many bad ones, man.
7 years I've been dealing with
It's cause you got a bad. Does it touch or you get pressure on it?
It'll get better, then I'll hit it. It'll bruise.
Yeah.
Open up. And like yesterday, I started IV antibiotics again
Yeah.
for staph on it.
So this is my buddy Sean right here. He got hurt. What year was you hurt?
2004.
2004. He was in a truck accident. Flipped the truck, and he went flying up in the trees. I landed on the road when I had my accident. He got caught up in the tree. But we both out here getting it. We're still working. We're still going. And when you get out of that bed, that's all you can do is go. You just listen to those people. Listen to them and do anything you can. Find any hope you can, and have faith. If you have any faith in, if you know the Lord at all, and maybe you're not following Him or whatever, and you got saved at a young age, you go to Him and you get Him back in your life, and you follow Him, because He's there waiting on you. He's ready for you, man. He's ready. But, Medicare bought me a Hover-Round after that one went out on me, the one I bought for $600.
Yeah.
And then and I had to make like certain payments on it, and all I get is Social Security every month, you know, and I had whatever I had for my settlement, and I just work the system the best I can, you know. I try to make a little supplemental income here and there, but it ain't a whole lot of money, and I get by. But it's just week to week or month to month, you know. I don't have a great job, but I'm just kind of getting by right now, you know. But it's all you can do. But they bless me. Medicare has taken care of me, and they spent a lot of money on me because I had that flap at Shepherd. I was in there 6 weeks, and I was in a room with like 6 other people. There were curtains all around us, and we didn't even know who each other's were, but we got, you know, I made the best of it. And there was a guy across from me. He was a black guy, you know, and he used to joke it up with the nurses, you know, because he was in there. He had a penile implant, and he used to tell me about it. He said, "Doug, you need to get you a penile implant, you know. That's what I'm in here for. That thing got infected, and they're having to fix it. They're going to have to come in there and replace it." And he used to joke all up about it, you know. I was like, oh man, and so 6 weeks off my butt, you know. That was the first time, and I probably went through 2 others before I left Atlanta, and I've had a couple of the worst ones since I've been to Pensacola. And a pocket will build up in there just from a little bit of pressure, you know. Do you do a lot of pressure release stuff and everything?
Yeah.
I know I never did it quite enough. I just got a good cushion. I try to have a good cushion. And now I'm in the worst shape of my life, you know. I haven't even been getting exercises. And I'm in bad shape. And right now, the last surgery I had was right after I met my wife. And she was a CN back in the day. She helped people. She worked in nursing homes. And she worked with people like me and helped people. That's what she was doing when I met her. She was helping people and helping clean up houses and helping people that were disabled and stuff like that. And the guy that she had been working for had died recently, had passed away. The guy that she was caring for. And I met her through an ad, you know, Craigslist. And we met at Chili's for drinks, and we've been together ever since. You know, one wild night just led to a lot of other ones, you know. And she's a wild girl, you know, and I spent 10 years of my life just kind of sitting back in Pensacola, just biding my time. I found the Lord again. I was watching TBN. You know, TBN, watching church channels and all that, and I was all by myself. Had all these porn videos that I was ordered through Adam and Eve, and watching porn, and just lonely, and I had lost everything again. I had gone bankrupt. I lost my house to drugs again because it got busted. They came in and raided our house, man, and Bill was there, and he was a big reason. It was mainly his fault because I had just gotten out of the hospital from another flat. I had been home 2 weeks, and I was back in my room minding my own business, trying to heal, you know. And I already gone bankrupt. I closed my store down. My dad and Bill had came up there, and they had emptied all my whole store out and put it in my garage. Had all these chemicals I was trying to sell to a guy that had worked with me before, and he was starting his own cleaning business, pool cleaning business. So I sold him all my chemicals. And Bill had a house full of people there all the time. He lived in the basement. And I had a couple of people that I let him, Bill Hernandez, the guy that was here earlier. Remember him, the big dude with the beard? Yeah, Bill Hernandez. He was my dark horse friend. Tiger was the one that had a head on his shoulder, you know. And he's the one that always tried to keep me out of trouble. And if it wasn't him, I would have gotten a lot more. Me and him, he somebody very special in my life, and Bill too. But me and him got in a lot of trouble together. You know, we drank together, we did drugs together, and all this kind of stuff. And well, Bill, at the time, you know, we got busted, and I lost everything. My dad, my sister, and her boyfriend, Chris, who she met after I got hurt. Her marriage to my best friend, who she had been together, Grover, the guy she met at my dad's house. She met him going up to Dad's house, a dude named Grover, the leather jacket and the mustache, you know. He turned out to be Keith Benedetto, and he was one of my best friends, and he was my, you know, we went fishing and camping and all that stuff together, you know. And after I got hurt, he was always there for me, you know. And something happened between them, and Sherry ended up dating the guy that was my roommate at the time that I had been working framing houses, and ended up hooking up with him and moving to Florida with him. This was years later down the road after I had built the pool business and lost it all again. They were in Pensacola, Florida. And in the meantime, they had 2 sons together in Atlanta, and they lived over in Dallas, Georgia, you know, and I had 2 beautiful nephews and all that. And in the time between 1997 and 2003, they grew their family, and then in 2002, 2003, they moved to Pensacola. And it was 2004 when all this happened, went down. Sherry asked me to move here, move to Pensacola. And there was a little house on the very corner of the street they were living on, had an apartment, a 300 square foot apartment that they were renting. The lady owned, her boyfriend owned the Full Tree Gardens in Pensacola, Florida. It's kind of like a big landscaping company, you know. They sell all kind of trees and plants and flowers and all. And I lived in a 300 square foot apartment, and I'm sitting there all by myself, lost everything. I'm in a town, I don't know nobody. The car that I bought a car that didn't have a tag. Was told that I could get a tag, but it was tired. I couldn't get the tile or nothing. It broke down on me. The transmission went out on me. I had made a trip back to Georgia and loaded it down with my dog, Coleman, that I had, my black lab. On the way back to Pensacola, it broke down on me. Transmission went out, and Chris and Sherry had to come about 2 hours coming back north and towed me back. He bought it like a tow chain, and he towed me all the way back to Florida. Yeah, and that car sat in the front yard forever, you know, until my grandmother, God bless her soul, sold me her old Lumina. She had a Chevrolet 4-door Lumina, and I sat in that house, and I was like sitting there watching TBN, and all of a sudden, I mean, the Lord was touching my heart, and I just fell out bawling and crying, and I just gave myself, I said, God, I'm going to give up all this stuff, throw it all away. I called my dad and asked him what kind of church I should go to, and he said, find you an Assembly of God church. And I did, and I called one up, and they came and picked me up and drove me to church. And for like 7 years of my life, I went to that church, and I was following the Lord, and I was doing my own thing until I met my wife. Until I met my wife, you know.
Did you get your bill yet?
No.
You need to get a bill. We got teenagers at home.
I met my wife in 2013, the end of 2013. And yeah, I'm still with her. You know, and God brought her to me. I knew it. I knew that He brought her to me. And as soon as, right after we met, I had this wound, Sean. A wound I had to go into surgery for. And it was bad when he had to staple my butt. all the way over. They had to flap it all the way over and staple it. And I spent 3 weeks in Sacred Heart Hospital, and they wanted to kick me out. And the doctor wanted me to stay. He didn't want me to go to hospice or anything. They were trying to send me to hospice. My wife wasn't having it. She wanted to take care of me at home, and I could get home health care. So I bought a $2,000 air mattress I still had today, and took it home. And she went home with me, and I had home health care, and we nursed me back to life, to health and everything. I spent 6 whole weeks in that bed, didn't get up, and I started a business buying and selling diabetic test strips out of my home. And I did all the legwork since I'd been there, trying to do at-home businesses and this and that. Everything fell through. Wasn't nothing making me any money until this fell into my lap, a little mailer I got in the mailbox. And I sifted through, and it was a little 3-inch cutout. And I said, niche on eBay, you know, make half of what you buy or whatever. Didn't say what it was, and that's what it was, diabetic strips. I put an ad in the Thrifty Nickel. I borrowed $500 from the Advanced America off my check, my Social Security, and I put an ad in the Thrifty Nickel. And ever since then, I've built a business there. And every month, every week, I'm getting calls from still people that I've been seeing all around that town, that I've touched lives, that I've helped. They get their little 20 test strips, yeah. And I buy them and I sell them for twice what I buy them for. And I sell them for a fraction of what you get them at the pharmacy. And anybody that don't have insurance can get them, and they don't have to pay top dollar for them. You know, I get them for anywhere from $10 to $30 a box, and I make anywhere from $10 to $30 a box. And so I built this business all the way to now, and my wife's hips went out on her.
We're not together.
And then in the past 3 years, she had arthritis in her hips. And then we've been trying to we don't have insurance. And so we go through Sacred Heart, and they give us medically needy through them. And finally, she was able to get her surgery, found a doctor that was willing to do it, and then they postponed it. And I was like hitting the ball around running. I was like, we can get out of here again, you know. We can go now, you know. We can get out of this house and go. And that's when I did the GoFundMe page so I could get some help around the house to get that apartment done. And I still want to talk to you guys about that, finishing that up, because Tiger and Scott are out there after the first of the year and helped me with that, do that some more. But Bill came down for a week and helped me get her room that she stays in, get it where it's clean and painted and everything, and got put a new TV mount so it's comfortable for a hospital bed. So she's ready for her surgery, and she postponed it. Or they postponed it because of her skin surgery. But I know that God brought her into my life, you know, and right now we're kind of butting heads, and she thinks I done go nuts because she don't really know who I am. She don't realize who I am and everything I've accomplished in my life, but living here in Atlanta, you know. And she just thinks I'm this good guy, you know, that takes care of her and everything, that we love each other. But she don't have any idea what I'm capable of, or the kind of friends and family that I have here in Georgia. And so I'm hoping it all works out, that she's the person that I think she is, and that she will start to see the big picture. You know what I mean? But that's where I'm at in my life, because God showed me that. He showed me from the beginning, from when my dad first left my mother until now, how I had struggle in my life. I have a life of survival like no other. You know, I've had to survive on my own independent self and a little bit of faith, and that seed that was planted in me them years ago has carried me all through this. Now that I can confidently and bold speak in how Jesus has been in my life. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about, is Jesus Christ, and spreading seeds across this land. And that's what I'm trying to do. I want to spread the seed, and everybody can take that seed, and they can see in their own lives, in their own situations, how they feel and everything, and they can see that they don't have to feel that way. They don't have to
Walk in and say joy.
stop. They don't have to weigh down. They don't have to be scared. They don't have to be afraid. You know what I mean? You don't have to be afraid. You just have to have faith in yourself and a little faith in Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ is where it all starts. It's where it's beginning and the end. That's what it's all about.